All right, welcome YouTubers. Week 5 NFL picks. Week 5. Let's see. My picks are all. There's 0 picks for my third stage martingales, such as the multiple picks are none, and my fixed system is none. So my A and B systems are none. So I've just got a bunch of minimum low-level stage 2 picks on the martingale, the modified martingale that I use. They're all 682. If you can't see this on your phone, you might want to display it on your TV, or if you still have a full screen computer, you can probably look at it those there too. I'm going to read them off here. They're all $682. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. $682 per $20,000 bankroll, so they're all $682 pets. For a total of $5,456 you'll lay out this week. Anyways, here's the 8 picks. They're Atlanta, Buffalo, Dallas, Denver, LA Chargers, LA Rams, Miami, and New York Giants. I believe none of those people are playing each other. If anybody ever plays head-to-head, just don't play it. Otherwise, you'll lose your vig. Week 4. Again, I had one piddly pick as a stage 2. It was Chicago, and they were -3 at home against the Bucks. Well, they covered that quite easily. I think they covered by 35 or something. So for 682 at -110 odds, that would have netted you $620 in profit. I know you don't always get -110 odds in the real world. I'm not sorry, -110 payout, right? I unfortunately don't really play this martingale with my money, so I don't know what I would have got on the various sites, but let's just say 110. I always use 110 -110 as your normal profit. That tends to work out over time. So anyways, I'd be plus 620 following my system. I got a bunch of people this week that are, these are above teams that are still above 52% at least, or I like to say you're above 60%. So good people to look at. Baltimore 3-1. Carolina didn't play this week, so they're 2-1. Chicago's 3-1. Cincinnati's 3-1. Cleveland's 3-1. Detroit's 3-1. Jacksonville's 3-1. Kansas City 4-0. They ended up watching the game last night. They squeaked in and covered right at the end, won the game, and I think they were 3.5 point favorites, and they won by 4. So I thought it looked like a lot of people were going to Kansas City lose, but anyways, they're still 4-0 against the spread. The Rams fell to 3-1. Miami's 3-1. Tennessee is 3-1, and Washington didn't play last week. They're 2-1. So I know we're going to get a little bit of talk about like the Rams game and a couple other games this week because I go to covers. But before I go to covers, new this year, these were my week 3 out here. I had 5 games and I've color coded them. They've now completed what I started for a martingale in week 3. Remember, 4 of them completed last week with a win in the first martingale. I normally don't bet that anymore, but if I had bet it, it would have been for 200 times my amount or the dollar profit, right? So it would have been $220 a game I would have bet, and I would have each one of those 4 the first week would have netted me $200 in profit. I'm just going to call it a dollar profit here. Just to do a little calculation. This one, Chicago, was one of my picks. It closed the second gauge on the martingale, so I gave it a little darker green. As I go forward, if it wins the third stage, I'll give it like a blue, and if it totally taps out, I'll give it a red, just to get an indicator of in my mind what it was doing. So really, I'm 4 plus $2 a profit, or $6. Now, if I was playing that, I could just multiply that by 200. I would have been $1,200 in profit instead of the $620 I am on the martingale. So I was 4-1 the first week in stage 1, 1-0 from stage 3, and 0-0. We're not going to get to any third stages this time though, because we've closed out. Now this particular last week, these are the teams that I would have played on the stage 1, and they were 7-9. So again, I'm back to my losing ways, but that's good. Everybody who lost goes to stage 2 this week, and that's why you got those 8 picks, right? And so I've got the week 5 starters this week, and I'm going to estimate the percentages. So I would have been 11-10 overall. That includes like San Francisco 2 wins. This is including multiples. And also, the only other thing that will differ from my real world is that this will not include. I mean, this will include head-to-heads, which I normally won't play because I'm gonna be 1-1. I'm gonna 50%. So my numbers will be a little higher than what you see here, but I'm at the perennial 11-10. That's 52.4 on a minus 110 payout, and 100% on stage 2, but only one pick so far, and no stage 3. So I'm gonna do a little tracking that way, get a little more info for you guys as to what's coming out, and you can kind of know even if you follow ahead. So what do I want to talk about next? Let's do the ROI chart. Again, I've only got numbers out here for the martingale. I put 682 out the first week. This is right here is what I'm putting out. I won 620. This week I'm laying out a betting 54.56, but I started up $620. So I'm using a little under $5,000 in my bankroll. That's kind of the way this chart works. Effectively, I'm not really making it to the 5,000 point. Now, the 5,000 would have been 25%. So that's why I'm at 24.18% of my bankroll used. And you see that with the black dot. Now, I've laid that out. I'm going to lay that out. And, I don't do Thursday and Sunday versus Monday and try to do that. I'm just laid it out for the whole week like this. And that's the way I do the numbers. And you can see my black dot is just slightly above 0. The black dot, solid dot, being $620 in profit I've seen so far. And I have not returned the money yet this week to see. I might be a winner, I might be a loser. This black dot might go up or might go down. In theory, I could do 0, I guess, right? Tie, probably not even possible. But that's how this chart works. So far the bankroll used works. Ignore the rest of these and ignore the single and the multiple. I haven't made one pick yet on those. Those are coming. Other things I like to do is I like to compare it to Apple stock, because if I bought that on September 4th, usually does well in the fall with Christmas and new products coming. But I would have bought it for, well, it closed at 228.36. Let's ignore what I would have bought it for, and let's ignore trade fees. That would have got me 87 shares for just a shade, $19,867. I have $130 in my pocket still. Can't buy a share. And this is where it's gone. It hasn't gone up. It's gone down. But it's high, and its current as of Monday close was 227. So I've only lost like $1 a share, so $80, and minus 0.5%. So I always like to compare it to buying it, Apple. Now, interestingly enough, last year Apple, I don't remember if it started or it closed at 169, but it's pretty good rise if I had left my money in Apple for the year, but I didn't. But this is just stock market versus NFL picks, right? So far I'm up 3.1%. That represents that $620 of profit. That's my high. I've only got 1 week and 0 zeros, but this chart I'm going to come back to once in a while and fill it out. Oh yeah, I did want to talk about covers. So let me talk about covers, because covers is a little squirrely. Again, they have a scores page here, so NFL scores and matchups for week 4. And they had the Thursday night game, the Rams as 7-point favorites, and the Rams won by 7. So that should have been a push for the Rams in Minnesota. But I actually get my data from the team's past results, and that gave me a slightly different number. That actually gave me Rams against Minnesota. They were 7.5-point favorites, not 7-point favorites, and they actually lost, and it gave Minnesota a win. So I know some people are, touting videos, especially where they're at a 7-point. They probably counted it as a push or a tie. I'm just technically counting it by this. Now that kind of evens out over time, but I'm technically counting it as a Rams loss and a Minnesota win. So if you pick that way, you got that way. Either way, there weren't pushes in my score chart. That's why maybe you didn't see a push this week for the Rams or whatnot. And as I calculate people, that's how I go forward. Luck of the draw. There were a number of other teams that were pretty close to that. I don't think Dallas was -2 with a push versus a win. And you usually don't get too many games like this, but this week had a number of picks. I think the Tennessee was fine because they were a dog to start with. Seattle, Arizona is one of those games that a lot of people got Arizona +3, in which case they would have pushed. But otherwise, Arizona gets a win and Seattle gets a loss. Oakland, I think, was like that. A lot of people had Oakland -3, which would have resulted in a push rather than an Oakland win and a Cleveland loss. That's about it. I don't think anybody else was close. But occasionally throughout the year, you get close games like that. You just don't get 4 in a week. But that happens. So I just wanted to bring that up. That why you might see a slight variance between what people report and what I've got on their YouTube history. That being said, you may see a huge discrepancy, like some people saying they're 8-1-1, and I'm telling you they're 5-10. No names in particular. Anyways, I've updated this chart. I've got 2 people. These totals now include the 2018. I don't want to talk about this every week, but maybe I will. I'm going to try to add 2 guys. I think they're high volume, getting a lot of followers, at least for some of the weeks. One of them is MN Beast, and he's giving out a whole busload of videos and a whole busload of picks. But he does pick ATS. One of the 4 videos, he was nice enough to caption it for me, so that was nice. Another one, he read it off a clipboard. I was okay with that. The other 2 videos, I don't really know what the hell he's talking about sometimes. He's, -4, Vegas is a winner, I'm a winner, loser, this, that, and I tease it to 10 and all this other stuff. And I'm like, well, what the hell are you talking about, right? So, but he picks almost every game, and so it's hard for me just internally to respect. I would hope that I'd get somebody who doesn't pick every game, but if you pick every game, you're not going to do well, I can tell you that. And he's 31-30 is by my calculations this year, minus $3,000. These are just $2,000 picks with an 18-18 net profit if you win and 2,000 out if you lose. So he's a net loser, and he's losing $60 a game, even though he hasn't only lost $3,600 so far. He's one guy. There's another guy that's BY and the fat guy or something that also picks almost every game, it looks like. But it looks like they give a summary at the end of the videos, the 1 or 2 videos I watched. They had some history back to last year. MN Beast has no history going back to last year. Those guys had some history, and they're also got like 10,000 views. So I don't expect them to be super well either, but we'll see. Anyways, I'm 0. I'm nowhere yet. I haven't made any stage 3 picks, so I'm exactly where I'm at. $170 a game efficiency. Over the years, 56.8. Teddy Bear, like I kind of leaked last week, he's down this year. He's 6-12, $13,000 hole. That's half of where he was. He was 26,000 to start. He fell from that 123 a game to 60 a game. So he can recover, but that's gaining ground on one of my competitors. Logan Schiff's video is 11-9. He's actually leading the pack, a slightly positive, right? Not in the cheer about, but positive is positive. So he's gained a little bit on me, but he's still in the 80s per pick. His description, there's another occurrence where you pick almost every game. He's in the hole significantly, 25-36 this year, down 27 grand. That actually makes him net negative. We started the year positive, 305.80, 280. I know that's positive, but it's only 52.1. And if you make a lot of picks, you'll lose a lot of money. So he's only losing $9 a game, but betting a lot of bets. Half Moon, 7-9, lost 5 grand already. You can get that back, but that gets him closer. That's half of what he's ever profited, according to my views over the years. So he's still a positive winner, but a long way from where I am. Or I haven't done the ATS, the Sports Guys show. I just can't bring myself to plow through those yet. And my 2 guys, Gino and Gio, are both 5-10, almost 11 grand in the hole. They were in the hole always to start with as a 50-50 pickers. So don't put your money on those guys. And these guys I gave up years ago trying to figure them out. So they were in the retired list. I'm not actively watching them. They were not worth my time. We'll see if the MM Beast, he was 11-4 I think the first week. I think that's why he got a lot of attention. Proceeded next week to tank, or I think he did all right. The half, and then the third week he tanked. And so now he's sub, or he's 31-30. One game above 500, that's going to lose you money like crazy. So I'll try to keep this up to date. Just FYI as I look out there if you see somebody else, Anyways, you got my picks. Pretty chintzy week, just a bunch of crappy martingales that I'm not even totally playing. I'm waiting for it to heat up. So hopefully a couple of those guys lose and they make it to stage 3, and they're getting the week after that I'll have some real picks or some real money out here and get myself excited, get going. But anyways, pick them as you want them. I gave you all the info you need to win. All right? Take care, guys. See you next week.